Good morning. So I thought on such a beautiful day today, I would come out and do a quick garden tour. So it is May 28th. We've just had a couple of days of really warm weather. So lots of things have opened up, but today it's like in the 60s and cool, little tiny breeze. It's absolutely gorgeous. So we're gonna start over here by the shed. It is time for all the deciduous azaleas to be blooming here. And this one is Arneson Gem. Isn't it spectacular? Just amazing. So this shrub probably gets to be about 5, maybe 6 feet tall and just as wide, although we did get some dieback on the other side of it. I have to do some pruning, so I'm going to do that today. There's also a clematis that grows up into this one. So it will, later on in the summer, there will be flowers all in this azalea. They won't be, really, honestly, I love clematis, but they won't be as spectacular as these. All right, so let's wander into the rest of the garden and see what looks beautiful this morning, which really is so much. So a lot of the bearded iris and baptisias are blooming. So that's the straight species Baptisia here, Baptisia australis. We'll see some others as we go along. This is a classic hand-me-down plant. I think it's Iris alcazar. I love it, and one of the reasons I love it is its root beer scent. So I could sit here all day. I don't drink root beer anymore, but I do love the smell of it. I used to love those little root beer candy, the little barrels you used to get in the penny candy store with my grandmother. But I think it's beautiful. Actually, I think this plant might have come from her. We're about to get into peony season. You can see all these buds on all of them. We've had a very cool, wet spring, so a lot of plants like this double take quince that would have already been done blooming are still throwing out flowers and having flowers. This one gets protected, so it's a rabbit magnet for some reason. More iris and more peony ready to go. I don't know the name of this iris either. Also was a hand-me-down one somebody gave me. So just pause quickly at the rose arbor, and you might note that there's only a climbing rose, or this is a rambler. I'm gonna see if I can get out of the sun a little bit. There we go. On the left-hand side, we had such a bad year with the rabbits over winter with the roses. So it seems like they always pick one plant and just go after that plant. And this year they gnawed and chewed all the woody parts of every climbing and tall rose. So we have none that escaped unscathed except the one very nearest the house. I'll show you that one because it's about to come into bloom, but the rest of them, they should be totally budded up, and they're not because I had to cut them all like this side. You can see I had to cut this way, way back down. Well, we're gonna fight the sun today, so I'm gonna work to try and mitigate that. All right, now we're kind of past it a little bit here. So we're walking into the back garden. We saw a lot of video of this, or if you watch my channel, you would have seen me redoing this back garden last year. So it's just starting to fill in. The roses again, and in these cloches, even with the cloches and bird netting, they still got chewed right down to the ground. but they're regrowing back quite well. There are 3 of them, and they're all rebounding great, but they really did get muckled. This is a lilac tree. It's never bloomed. I'm hoping this is its year. We're gonna walk back this way a little bit into this garden to the side because it is still lilac season here. So we'll go look at some lilacs. Some things did very well overwintering here. Some things struggled so much. Like everything up here, of course, this is such a rabbit haven up in here, and it's really hard to keep anything. You can see if you kind of come in, the remnants of this Hackanachoa that they destroyed. And the painted ferns are all protected for the same reason. There's two cool plants in one shot here. This is a foxglove called Digitalis lutea. It has these sweet little, it's really diminutive, small foxglove with little yellow flowers. And that is a species peony that you grow in the shade. I think that one might be Paeonia obovata. But there's japonica in here too, and I'm not sure which one is which because I moved them both last year and I didn't move any plant tags. And the variegated Solomon seal. This is such a garden-worthy plant. Takes dry shade like a champ. It's just finishing flowering. There's a whole stand of it over here too. So what we're coming back here to look at is not the projects I've been working on, but the lilacs. We were pruning, we've been doing so much out here. So this is bloomerang, which is a reblooming lilac. So I'll have to, I don't usually deadhead my lilacs, but this one I have to get it to rebloom. Behind it, there's 2 in this behind the shed. And these are actually blooming early this year, where our other lilacs all bloomed late. Usually these don't bloom until we get into June. So we're about a week early. So one of them in here is Donald Wyman, but I think that's this one, which is just starting to open. It's a Preston lilac, that's why they're late. And then the other one, I don't know the name of. I don't have the plant tag, and these went in so long ago. But if we back out, you can see that they take up the whole back of the shed. There's 5 huge shrubs. And they are so happy living back here. And they just bloom and bloom and bloom, and I love them. So, oh, here, blueberries. Future blueberries here. All the flowers that just finished. This was a straight species lilac, Syringa vulgaris, that finished blooming. And this is another late blooming lilac called Miss Canada. And this one is about right on time this year. Look at those beautiful reddish purple flowers. Buds before they open are so dark. And then as they open, let's see if we can do there's buds. And then when they open, they're a little lighter, almost white. Beautiful. Little rhodie blooming in the shade over there. Anyway, that's the lilacs that are blooming over here. This is Russian comfrey, which is a thug of a plant. But if you have the space for it, you're never gonna find anything more blue, except maybe Himalayan blue poppies in the garden. bees love this plant, but it has tap roots. It's difficult to take out if you plant it where you don't want it, and it spreads, so we have to keep it contained. You can see it's starting to creep out here, so I have to come in and make sure it stays in its little space right here. More blueberries in here too. So this garden also got a big replant last year, and we did that container. So on my chore list today is to get the plants I bought for that container in. These might be double bang spirea. Their tag is probably in there. But I always use these because nothing touches them. If I need to have one stable plant that I know rabbits, deer, nothing will eat, it's this. And I love their foliage when they come out in the spring. You can see these from anywhere in the garden. They're so bright. I think they're beautiful this time of year. And they'll do this again in fall. All right, we'll wander back where we were, but go to the left. I was so happy to see all the hosta I put under here in the fall leafing out. Because the minute I put them in the ground, we all know what happened. They got eaten by the rabbits. Major wheeler honeysuckle. So this is hardy kiwi vine right here. That's flowering like crazy and starting to color up on the leaves. Growing on this arbor. So when you grow hardy kiwi vine, if you want to get the little fruits, you need a male and a female. So one plant lives here on this side. That leaf starting to color up. And the other plant lives on an arbor over here across the way. But you see it's not there, and you know why. It's just starting to come back. It also got, you can see these angled cuts. Let's see if I can get the camera to look at it the way, so you can see it's angled. There you go. That tells you who chewed that off. So when I came out here after the winter, this vine you just leave. You don't need to prune it. And it was all chewed off at this level. So it has to regrow from that level, and hopefully it will. I'm gonna give it some fertilizer. They also got my Montmorency cherry right above where the protection ended. We had high snow cover, and all right, let's stop talking about sad things. Let's find some fun things to look at. Well, that kiwi vine did great. That one I'm bringing back from the brink, and it looks fantastic, and it didn't get nibbled, which is heartening. Our little deer hedge over here, this beautiful Coppertina 9-bark. The foliage on this is so stunning. Trifolium just finished flowering, and you can see what happens to the flowers when they turn into seed heads. It's such a cool little plant. It just acts as this ferny, beautiful ground cover. It doesn't go dormant or anything, and it flowers with these nodding, like pink flowers, really early, and then they turn into these fuzzy seed heads. Right above the geum is a loosestrife, and then this gorgeous white geela, which is blooming early this year. It's funny with this extended spring weather, cold, rainy. Our overnight temperatures have been very cool. Most things are kind of lagging behind, but some things are early. Go figure. It's just beautiful. So that Weigela sits right above this beautiful loosestrife foliage, and then the GM at ground level. And across the path, well, let's go in here for a second and look at this little miniature conifer with the ajuga blooming underneath. Over here, we took out a bunch of willows that were lining the roadside last year. Pan over, you can see one. We left two. This whole side of the road was these, and we took them all out. We're actually walking in their wood chips because we wood chipped this whole side of the yard with the wood from them. So now I'm refilling out, but this Rosa glauca, beautiful, beautiful foliage plant. And I know I'm gonna fight the sun in here because we're right on the sunniest side of the garden right now. But look at that. And those are all of its flower buds. And this is a species rose, Rosa glauca. It has this beautiful glaucous blue foliage. It will get very red tinged in the sun, but this rose actually can grow quite well in the shade. It will just be more blue and probably not flower as well. This one's gonna erupt in flowers very soon. My shadow. So another lilac. So I planted over in here to replace what was taken out right in the edge of the street right there. A 9-bark, a gold 9-bark. This Moscow Beauty lilac that just is finishing blooming, and a hydrangea paniculata right in here. That all of those shrubs will get very big and fill this area out. It won't be as shady as it was, but the street will be blocked. And there's a red bud there and a cool tree right here called ironwood. It's a member of the witch hazel family. Get the little Picea aves push, because it has these gorgeous reddish color pine cones in the spring. This is a really diminutive shrub. It only gets about as big as it is. It doesn't grow very much at all. It will probably spill out further, but it won't get much taller than that. But these pine cones are really cool. All right, now we're gonna walk across the basketball court toward the front and see the lilac hedge. To look at the beautiful emerging foliage of this ironwood tree. So pretty. All right, another spirea. This one has a name that has the word gold in it, but I can't remember it. Isn't that spectacular? The rest in here are Anthony Waterer. So this lilac is called Sensation. And it's a bicolored bloom. Let's see if we can get somewhere where it's less sunny. So the flowers open and they're sort of a deeper purple with a white edge, and then they get lighter and lighter as they fade. So so it's probably nearing the end of its bloom time. Wish lilac season went on longer. That's why I grow the boomerangs. As we're coming around the corner, we're at the front of the house now. I'm standing right to the side of my garage, and this tree on our corner is a red horse chestnut. And this thing should get to be 35 to 40 feet tall, but it got girdled its very first winter here, and it has kept it very small. It's been here a dozen or more years. Getting closer so you can see. It is a showstopper of a tree, and it's planted in the perfect location because everyone who drives in can see it when it's in its full glory, which is now. So you can see this is here on the end of our driveway, and if I pan this way, this is the front of our house. So this is where my longer lilac hedge is. Spectacular, and it does get fruit, not as many as a regular horse chestnut, and they're much smaller, but they are kind of cool. And the chestnuts are so shiny, and they're cool to open up and just place in the garden on rocks, or my grandkids like to collect them. Oh, bees all around me. So now we're coming to where the main lilac hedge is, and this was a Syringa vulgaris alba, I think, and it's white. It has already finished blooming. And then another boomerang. Boomerang has tiny flowers, but it's still fragrant. It still looks like a lilac, they're just smaller. This is another large Syringa vulgaris that's done blooming. And then we get into some Tinkerbells, which again, smaller shrub, maybe 3 or 4 feet, and tinier flowers. But a really nice little well-behaved hedging plant. Ours is underplanted with peony, colchicum for fall flowers, and Rosa rugosa, Rosaria de la Haye comes in on the other side. The last lilac over here is done blooming, and it's Charles Jolie, and it's starting to lean because of shade, but the good news is that it's been sending out suckers the last 2 years, so I've already moved some of them, and I'm going to move these two as well so we can have this gorgeous lilac. It is the most deep reddish purple. This is either Yaku Prince or Yaku Princess. I'm going to say this is Yaku Princess. Rhododendron. Both were planted here, and one didn't make it. The tree they're competing with was planted by our house developer. It's a Norway maple, which anybody who grows that knows how hard it is for anything to survive under it. So I'm glad one at least made it. Very compact little rhodie. It's at the end of its bloom, but just again, showstopper, the color. The one over here, this is a deciduous azalea, and this is Blau's Pink. I'm not sure I'm saying that right. It's Blauws, I think. But that beautiful salmony coral color. Beautiful. There's a clematis blooming here. A magnolia that lives right here is just finishing too. It blooms for a long time. This is Magnolia Jane. When it's covered in flowers, spectacular. And great choice for really cold climates where we might have late frost, because it opens usually after our last frost. Well, always after our last frost. This clematis got moved last year. This is sugar sweet blue or sweet sugar blue, and it was very unhappy where it was living. So I moved it, and clearly that was the right decision. Come in under the akebia, open the gate. This is the area we call the dogs garden because this is where the dogs are fenced in when they come out. And bridal wreath spirea. There's two of them. You can see the one in the back. They're each on this side of this birch tree. One down near the road and one here. It usually cascades over the top of this fence, but I had to prune it last year, so it'll take it a while before it gets back to that point, but it's still beautiful. I'm gonna walk in. This is a late season garden in here, so there's not much going on except one of my favorite clematis, which is called Omashiro. Aren't they spectacular? Oh my goodness. That dark reddish purple edge and the dark anthers. Oh my goodness. This one's always in a competition to see who can be first to bloom here, and it's usually pretty close to the top. Everything else in this garden, oh, I'm going too fast there. I didn't mean to make anyone nauseous. It takes a bit to get going. These are later blooming clematis, and there's hydrangeas, all sorts of things in here. Oh, this is viburnum that's blooming here. Summer snow. We'll look at it from the other side of the fence. Geranium macrorrhizum, columbine popping up everywhere. Coming in to look where that viburnum was, but what's spectacular in this garden right now is this stand of colonized Calycanthus floridus. And it starts over here near the fence, and you can see it all in here. This is a suckering shrub. It was just let to go, intermingling in here with summer sweet, which is what's in the front. But the Calycanthus has the most amazing pineapple tropical drink smell. Every one of these flowers gives off that fragrance, and so when you're sitting on our porch or even walking on the road and the sun is hitting this plant, you feel like you're on vacation. It's like a pina colada being fused into the air. So the flowers themselves, they're cool, but they're not what you'd call, I guess, pretty. That's how dark they are when they're opening, and then they get lighter as they age. But this thing blooms most of the summer. This is its most profuse bloom time, but it won't stop. It'll just keep going and going. And here's our viburnum. It's Viburnum plicanum tomentosum, summer snowflake. It was sort of, I guess, a victim of where our fence had to get placed. So you can see it's right up against the fence, but it's doing okay. So many clematis in here are about to come into bloom too. You can see so much, as I'm standing here, I can see so many buds. So it won't be long. Also the mock orange, Philadelphus, is loaded in buds. these two deciduous azaleas, I don't know their name. I planted this garden rather hastily when this beds were first made, and I don't even think I wrote their names down anywhere. I've looked through every plant list I have, and I've never been able to find they're beautiful. This one especially. This one is darker, but also almost completely finished, so its blossoms are past, but my goodness, so pretty. All right, as we come up this garden that's right off the back of our house, we have the beginning of major wheeler honeysuckle blooming. There's a clematis that lives on this that runs rampant over this thing once it gets going, but it's a late season type 3, so it's not smothering this yet. More of that same root beer iris, and also iris immortality, most gorgeous white. I love this iris. Flowers. All right, come up over the stair on the deck, and this is today's project, to get all these container plants in the containers they belong in. And iris gamecock, one of my least favorite, and actually was sent to me by accident by an iris vendor. But really pretty when it's in bloom in here in this little garden that just is a tiny carve out in our pool area. Also there's colchicums in here that are about to go dormant, and then we'll get to see all the rest of the stuff take over. So I'm gonna head down here to see another baptisia. So we get to put our cushions back out. My goodness, I don't know if any of you have any sort of water on your property. So this is right next to our pool, and we have grackles, and grackles, when they nest, their young just poop into, like, they call them fecal sacs, and then the moms or dads or whoever take them out and drop them near water, usually a pond, and our confused grackles think, you know, this is that. It's not a pond, kids. But anyway, we have to deal with this during nesting season. It's only a couple weeks, but boy, it's ugly. So, let's stop and look at this. Is Harlequin honeysuckle with the variegated leaves, and it's planted all through this bed. And some of it's blooming over here, although there is a lot of it that's reverted. The foliage is reverted back to green. See some of it here that hasn't. So I just let this go. It's more reverted. I don't know if you can see down in toward the bottom, and a lot of this top growth is just green, but the flowers are so beautiful. So it grows all through this flower bed. And a little tragedy that my Calycanthus athens did not make the winter. I wasn't cutting it back yet because I was hoping it was going to start leafing out, but it has not, which makes me really, really sad. And the other thing that struggled in here over the winter was the yucca color guard. I think it was just so much snow cover, and they were so wet for so long. You can see a lot of them are struggling to come back. This one here, this weedy, and pull this out of here, this weedy, I don't know what you call it, forget-me-not. It's everywhere. But look, it did not like how wet that winter was. ghost honeysuckle though survived like a champ. This is a brand new plant last year, and it's doing really, really well. Looks like it's about to flower too. But what we came over here to see was this Baptisia. So pretty. I love this against the fence. And you can see it so well from everywhere in the pool area because it's so bright. Gorgeous. This is an artemisia I use called lemon and lime or something like that. And for this area, there couldn't be a better choice because it's so bright and you can see it from everywhere. It's so easy to weed out and to thin out, but this is all sand and not irrigated back here. So useful plant in the right place. Clematis. And the dogwoods that I reinvigorated last year all had a great winter and are ready to get going. All right, that's our little garden tour today. We can put all the chair cushions out and be ready for a few beautiful days of sitting outside. And just looking at all the beautiful scenery around us. Have a great day.